Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the December 4th Litchfield Energy Committee. Would you please all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, with that, we'll have a roll call of members. My name is Sam Terrell, the chair.
Fred French, Citizens Rep.
Kimberly Queenan, Selectmen's Rep.
Karen White, Finance Director, Support.
All right, and we have a small group here today. A few people are missing, but this is a public hearing, so I will entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Okay, I have a motion by Kim. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Fred. Any discussion?
No.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion passes 3-0-0. So this is a public hearing, so if anyone from the public wants to comment, please just raise your hand and I'll be looking out and call on you. All right, we have Emily Mann here from Standard Power, and she will give us a presentation on her, on the plan here, the draft community power plan. Go ahead.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you for everyone for turning out tonight. As Sam said, I'm Emily Manns from Standard Power. Standard Power has been helping the committee and the town of Litchfield explore community power. And so I'll say a little more about our company at the end, but let me go ahead. I have about a 12 to 15 minute presentation, so we'll get started. So I'd like to start with the purpose of community power. The purpose is right in the law. RSA 53E was passed in October of 2019, and it's pretty clear on the purpose. It's to provide access to competitive markets for small electric customers. So you may own a business or know that business industrial customers get better electric rates than residential and small commercial customers. And this program is designed to fix that. It's designed to bundle small customers together to get better electric rates, as well as other benefits of the competitive markets, including consumer protections and other choices, and I'll go over those. So what is community power? Community power is where the municipality procures electricity or electric supply for residents and small businesses. The town of Litchfield will not take ownership of the power. This is a contractual arrangement, and the delivery services and emergency services and billing services all stay with Eversource. They stay with your distribution utility. So that means you receive the same bill in the mail, and you also receive the same crews on your street. If you have a power outage or some other emergency, the same crews show up. And but with working with our team, you receive stable, competitive rates. So we do a fixed rate, fixed term contract chosen by the town, and it offers consumer protections, program choices, and options for green renewable energy, which again I'll talk about as we go along. So how do we generate savings? Currently most customers, 80 to 90% of electricity customers are on utility default supply, provided by Eversource. So Eversource has to go to market on a fixed schedule every 6 months, and basically they just that rigid schedule and the short time frame provide opportunities for us because we are not fixed to that schedule. So we can use market timing. We can go to market when it's favorable. We can use contract length. We can choose any length of contract, 6 months or a year, 2 years, 3 years, and then we bundle customers together for competitive pricing. And there are hundreds of programs around the country and in New England that are providing consistent savings for customers. Another reason these programs are popular is that to use and support local renewable energy. This is a complex topic, but essentially renewable energy markets are established nationally. So there are national, regional, local markets for renewable energy. And with markets come market opportunities. There are, different quality of renewable energy products, but we can use those in your program for auditable, verifiable renewable energy in your program. The program can offer choices, so not everybody has to be on the same choice. You can, you don't have to be on the same choice as your neighbor. Your neighbor can choose one choice and you can choose another. And I'll have another slide of the choices. And then we can also support local resource development in a number of ways. In one, just bringing interest in energy issues and savings to a community tends to generate ideas about how to bring local renewable energy and savings to communities through energy efficiency, through development of renewable energy resources, that sort of thing. And then there are more benefits possible with the Community Power Program. Principally, I mentioned consumer protections. Currently, residential customers and small commercial customers have, in New Hampshire, have the ability to choose their electric supply already, a third-party supplier. But these, at best, these third-party offers need to be managed. So you may know someone who's had a great rate and is very happy with their third-party supply, and you might know someone who's had a horrible experience and had their renewal rate go up massively. So this program is a municipal program. It's supervised by the town of Litchfield, and it won't have that kind of bait and switch or any sort of shenanigans like that. This is just a plain program for regular citizens. And then I've just listed some other benefits here. Local control. Town of Litchfield is supervising the program with the assistance of a consultant. And then we can bring education awareness programs, energy planning, to the extent that those are goals of the town. So I have two slides of an electric utility bill. This is the front side. I've highlighted the areas on the bill that will change or be affected by a community power plan. You'll notice there's supply and delivery there. This only affects the supply portion of your electricity bill. So this is an old bill, but supply typically is about half of, more or less half of your electric bill. And so this only affects the supply portion, about half of your electric bill. And then on the bottom right of the slide, you'll see your electric supplier is. If you're, actually, I recommend everyone pull up their electric bill and have a look at your electric supplier. For someone on Eversource Utility Default Supply, this will say Eversource. If you're on a third-party supply, it will say the name of the company. And once the program is up and running, participants, here it will say Litchfield Community Power, should you move forward with the program. It will clearly identify that you're a participant in the program. Oops. And then the back, And then the back side of the bill. Again, there's a place where it would say Litchfield Community Power or Eversource or a third-party supplier. And I just wanted to point out, this is where your bill is calculated, the charges. I don't know whether you can really see it there, but it says 600 kilowatt hours. That's the use on this electricity bill, and then times a rate. And the rate is what will be affected by the Community Power Program to provide a new rate for customers. So currently, all utility customers fall into two categories. They are they've either made a choice and they're on a third-party offer. That's for all customers, residential, commercial, industrial, all customers. If they've made a choice, they're on a third-party supply contract. But if they haven't made a choice, or maybe they've chosen to be on utility default service. So the majority of customers are on utility default service. That means Eversource is your supplier. And with the Community Power Program, we provide a new default service rate. So customers that are currently on Eversource default service would be eligible for automatic enrollment in the Community Power Program default service rate. There's a period to opt out of the program back to the utility default, but we try and design a program that has no reason for people to choose the utility default. We provide savings upon launch, we guarantee savings upon launch and provide attractive options for all customers. So we look for all community members to participate in the program and find a place for themselves in the program for a great rate and more renewable energy. Customers currently on third-party supply are not eligible for automatic enrollment, so they are not affected by the program unless they choose to opt in, which they can do. And actually, I had a couple more things. And then the program, as I said, it's not a one-size-fits-all. There are choices for customers, and so the draft plan has a default service and then some optional products. This is an example from Massachusetts. In New Hampshire, the program's just started this spring, so we only have a few months of experience. So I brought this up. This is from our partner, Good Energy. Good Energy and Standard Power launched programs together in New Hampshire in June for Keene, Marlborough, Swansea, and Wilton. So this is a program that Good Energy has run since 2017, and I'll point out a few things on it. The blue toothy line is the Eversource default rate, so the utility default rate. You can see it's changing up and down every 6 months. The green dotted line is the default rate. This program started in 2017 with small savings relative to the utility default rate, but then you can see it had a renewal at the end of 2019 and then at the end of 2022. At the end of 2019, the default, you can't really see a change in the default rate, it stayed level, but if you look in the legend above, the Somerville default doubled in renewable energy. So these programs are popular for the opportunity to take back a little bit of the savings from the program and to purchase a little extra renewable energy. So Somerville chose to launch at 5% additional renewable energy over the state minimum. And then in 2019, they doubled that to 10, and then at the end of 2022, they doubled that again to 20% additional renewable energy. So that's an example of an option that you can put in your program in your default supply to add renewable energy. And then the orange line there, you can see it goes down a little bit at the end of 2019, and then but that orange line is the best rate the program could get for customers. So it's a little bit of savings over the green default for this program. And then the only thing I want to mention is that people are concerned with a fixed rate, fixed contract. A fixed rate, fixed term contract, they're worried about, well, what if the utility default rate goes below the program rate? So I'll just point you to, at the sort of middle to the end of 2022, the blue toothy line, the utility default rate, went below the program rate. So we don't worry about this. We can't anticipate what the utility rate is going to do when we set program rates, so customers can come and go from the program. So if you saw the utility default rate going below the program rate, you can hop out of the program and go to the utility default rate and enjoy that lower rate. If you stay in the program, then for those few months, you'll pay a slightly higher rate, but then you can see right away in the beginning of 2022, or February 2021, the utility rate goes back up and you're back making savings. So over the long term, over the contract periods, those 2-year contract periods, over this entire program, there's a lot of savings. There's a lot of difference between the blue utility default rate and the program rate. Customers enjoy the stability of rates and the ability to, just plan and know what their rate is going to be, and over the long term, they provide savings. So, So a little checklist. The program goals are rate relief for customers upon program launch. Just mentioned stable rates that provide level monthly costs. They allow for planning, budgeting, evaluating investments. The one reason municipalities are bringing this to residents is that they already have experience with fixed rate, fixed term contracts that provide benefits to them. and then just planning expenses out further than the duration of the utility default rate of 6 months. Long-term savings. Over time, these programs are popular for their long-term savings, their demonstration of long-term savings. Choices for participants, consumer protections, and then no individual customer contracts or exit fees. Customers can come and go from the program. In essence, it's on your monthly meter read date, so it's once a month you can make choices. It's not in real time, but you can make those changes regularly. So in order to choose the sort of products, the core of the program are the products offered and the default. Litchfield ran a community power survey. It had a nice response at 225 respondents, mostly homes, a few businesses. Here are just a few statistics. The 96% had done something for efficiency. Really, generally, that's LED light bulbs, which someone pointed out at the last hearing are very ubiquitous now. So maybe these questions are slowly becoming, not relevant. But when we started a couple of years ago, it was still changing. So, if the survey is still open for, if we see responses, we'll add them to the survey results. So go ahead and respond to that. The question we look at for the developing the program default and the program products asked, are you interested in additional renewable energy? I'll point out now, too, that the survey is not statistically significant. We really like we kind of share it out into the world and then bring the responses back. Also, it's pointed out that the questions really aren't perfect for a perfect match for our program. But what this question showed us is that there is a lot of support for renewable energy as long as the price of renewable energy is not more than the current price of electricity. So adding the green wedges in the table, that 74% supported some renewable energy in Litchfield's power supply, and 26% said they'd like the lowest cost, or I would not like more renewable energy. So, and that's a response, typical response we've seen through New Hampshire we've surveyed about 25 communities now. So the plan as it's drafted now has a small amount of renewable energy in the default product. So customers that would be eligible for automatic enrollment would go into the Litchfield default, and it would target, there's a target range here, 1 to 10%, and that's really to give when the town goes to market and procures electricity, it gives them some flexibility to add renewable energy depending on what the default rate and what the current rates are for electricity. So there's a range there. The lowest rate that we can get in the program is an optional product in the current plan, and then there are 2 optional products where there's additional renewable energy, targeting 50% renewable energy and 100% renewable energy. So again, I have a little checklist here. So we've talked about it's an opt-out program that bundles together eligible customers for savings. We have opt-in program already. We've had it for 20 years, and they don't work. This is not, the law allows for an opt-in program, but it's, as a practical matter, it won't work for, we can't get suppliers to bid on an opt-in program because the participation is so low. So an opt-out program is the way to go, and that's what we're proposing. Those currently on competitive supply are not eligible, but they can opt into the program, and at any time. At any time, people can come and go anytime. There are choices for lowest cost and more renewable, up to 100%. It's a fixed price, fixed term contract, and it's determined, this is determined by the program, but it's determined by the town. Electric assistance customers keep full benefits. So electric assistance customers' benefits are calculated separate from this program. The people can get the rates of the program and keep their full dollar amounts for their benefits. and we can work on local initiatives. And I haven't said it before, I keep forgetting to say it earlier in the presentation, which is that there is no cost to the municipal budget. There's no impact on taxpayers. The program costs are all bundled into the agreement with the supplier. And I'm almost to the end here. The timeline, the town, we're in the process, the committee is in the process of drafting a community power plan with public input. This hearing is part of that process. And once the plan is approved by the committee, then it goes to the select board to be decided on whether it is being presented to voters at town meeting. And and then at the same time, or, at some point before the program launches, it needs to go to the Public Utility Commission for review as well. So that takes about 60 days. So we recommend you do that in parallel with the town meeting process. Once we have state and local approval, then we go forward with procuring electricity, and that takes about 90 days to go from, requesting utility data through launching of the program. And that's all detailed in the plan. So my last couple slides are just about Standard Power. We've been an energy broker since 2010. We have it used to be a unique product, but pretty cool product called a group net metering program that benefits essentially municipal customers. It gives them savings on their electric bill by participating in a group of small hydro facilities, small renewable hydro facilities, and that's one of our facilities there. And then we added to our brokerage services, community power services, and now we're serving, I think we're up to 28 communities. So, and we launched our first 4 programs in June, and have another 3 under contract, and the rates are still looking favorable. So it's looking great for a spring launch for communities ready to go. Okay, and so that's our team, and that's my last slide of the formal presentation. So thank you for listening to my presentation.
Great, thank you very much. So, are there any members of the board that would like to say anything? Any comments?
No, looks great.
I'd like to hear from the public. You have any questions about the presentation?
Yes. Richard Husband, 10 Mallard Court. So, with the community power plan, are you able to integrate like local solar power from residents and include that in the power that's going to be aggregated and sold to the town?
So upon launch, this is a simple program. It really just replaces the supply contract for the utility.
Okay.
So net meter customers are treated like they would be under the current Eversource tariff. So if you have an old system, then your benefits would work exactly the same as they do now. If you're on the NEM2 tariff, if you have the newer tariff, so if you get $1 credit on your bill, then the supply portion of your credit is not apportioned to your your sales on your bill. So for many customers on the newer tariff, you would not participate in the program because in the summer months you wouldn't get credit. You'd lose most of your credit for your sales.
Right. So
there are exceptions to that, and that's why I'm kind of explaining. But
maybe this is a question more for the Energy Committee. But as you probably know, the DES is now in the process of revamping our old climate plan, which hasn't been revised since 2009. And as part of the process, they're reaching out to all the residents in the state for their views on what a climate plan should have going forward, and not only guidelines and targets we're shooting for, maybe in terms of emissions, but also in terms of like local projects and stuff that will help us get there. And I'm wondering, is part of what you're looking at going forward the ability to get, I guess net metering, local residents can do net metering. Could that be incorporated into this at some point down the road? Because there's a possibility, I was thinking of maybe utilizing town land. There is money that might be available from federal government through the state, and program that they're going through now.
Yeah.
It's possible that there would be money for local town projects like installing solar on 12 acres of land and feeding that electricity into a net metering program, or I was hoping something like this. Is it possible down the road that could be integrated into this, or is that totally different?
So we, absolutely. So the law allows for local renewable energy, including local projects in the power supply. So probably we wouldn't have a project in Litchfield ready to go upon launch, assuming we launch next spring or in 2024, but absolutely. And we are now already working with developers in the towns we work in. As you know, you need a piece of land, and you need a host, and you need power. It's very complex. It's surprisingly complex to do local projects, but if we know someone is working on something, we run right over to them and say, the community power program, can we be your first off-taker? Can we be in the mix? So that if the timing can work out or can sync up, then we take having programs as locally as possible very seriously. I would say the other things is to extend the net metering deadline. So it's right now it sunsets in 2040. So I think extending that would be very supportive. And then also allowing net metering customers to participate in community power with their full benefits.
Right. So,
We know that utilities can do that. I mean, physically they do it already with their own supplier, so we know that they can do that, and we want to, and that would help customers save a little more money and consider more renewable energy. I mean, I think that would be.
Well, I want to become active with the DES on their.
You're talking about the state
creation of the-
DES.
Pardon?
Right, you're talking about at the state level.
Yes.
Yes,
And
yeah.
I want to get involved in at least providing input on what they should be doing, the state and in terms of municipalities. And am I jumping the gun by trying to get money from the state, pitching a proposal that maybe Litchfield could put a solar project on its property, and we should get, try and get federal funds for that? Is that jumping the gun? As you know,
No, I
they're
wouldn't
going
wait
forward
for
with
the
that really
DES.
fast.
I would just go ahead and, if there's a suitable property, I would make progress on all the promising projects, and slowly one or two will look the most promising. And then community power, typically, so Keene did a 30-month contract that takes it out to end of 2025, but that doesn't mean Litchfield would do, maybe Litchfield would do 17 months or some other contract. So, those are real terms for what the program length. And
Yeah, so community power would buy the RECs from as local sources as possible, right? So if you have a solar panel in town and you're net metering, you're producing renewable energy credits, then community power wants to buy them. And it's your goal to source that as locally as possible.
Well,
So
it sounds like the law isn't quite there yet, allowing net metering to be.
well, so they want to buy the renewable energy credits, but the caveat is the producers, the owners of the solar panels can't be in the community power. They need to opt out of this plan because they won't get paid for their excess
What
energy.
if the town owns the solar?
Then the town shouldn't be in this plan as it stands today. It may change where, like you said, where they do incorporate the net metering into the plan, and that way the owners of the solar panels can get paid for their energy that they produce while being in this plan. But that's for the future. That's not what we're talking about right now.
yes, and you brought up the point of purchasing renewable energy credits, and you're talking about purchasing the electricity, and we do anticipate, the law does allow for all of that, and we do anticipate incorporating local projects.
It does allow for all of that, or doesn't?
It does allow for that. Whether all of the pieces are in order, that if you brought a project we're talking hypothetically here, so we need to talk, this is the location, and this is when it's going to start, and this is who owns it, because the owner makes all the decisions, basically. But we do approach the owner and say, can we purchase your renewable energy certificates? Can we purchase your power? Then we go to the suppliers. We run a blind competitive process. So we have one supplier that says, yes, I'll incorporate that program, or that local program. We have the other one that says no, but has a better price. Now, that's a decision the town would make about, but we're working with all the suppliers. They are all aware that we're all moving in the same direction.
But you're asking, is there town property available? Would the town want to take this on? Is that,
That's part of it. It's complex, but everything is moving quickly at once.
Right.
On the state level, they're going really fast with this. They have to have the climate plan by March. And that climate plan is going to include all of the input from towns and citizens of the state who are proposing projects that should be part of the climate plan. So if we want to get something in Litchfield we're going to get federal funding for as part of the climate plan, we're going to have to push it through pretty quick, or at least have an idea, something to pitch to the state. So I just wanted to maybe I talk to you guys and no.
do we want to set up something with Kim Kleiner to investigate this?
Yeah, I
See if you
suppose-
want to get in front of the Board of Selectmen, but the main mission of this was to just get community power going. That was the mission
But I just
right
have
now.
the lines
But then,
merger here.
after warrant article, we start up looking at these options you're talking about, but it sounds like March 2024 is your deadline?
Well, the states has to have their climate plan into the federal government, so they're going to look for everything from local people here probably by the end of January or something, I would think.
So we wouldn't be ready, but at least maybe something, they could express interest, maybe there's something like that.
Yeah, I just wonder if I should run out and push this with the state or whether I'm ahead of the game.
Well, I don't want to push it with the state and then the town's really not ready.
Well, yeah,
Can
I'm
we
buying
reach
the
out to
town
you?
anyway, but
Can
it's
we
just
reach
saying,
out?
put the time into talking to the state and see what would have to be done on a town level
Yeah.
and all that stuff.
Right.
But if, I've got other things to do if I'm just spinning my wheels, and then not do that.
Can we reach out to you, the town administrator, to talk with you to see
Yeah.
if we can at least have a conversation going with this? All right. And we have his name on the record, right? Can you say your name one more
I'm
time?
Richard Husband.
And you're on Mallard, right? Okay, we'll have her reach out to you. She's on vacation this week, right? Okay. And you're on Mallard Court?
I'm sorry?
Mallard Court?
10 Mallard Court.
Okay, good. All right, so when she is back, we will have her reach out to you and see. We'll just start the conversation, right?
Yeah, great.
I'm not sure there is town land available, right? That's what we'll have to look at,
Yeah.
and if the town has an interest to do it, right, and what that even means, so. Maybe you're gonna join the Energy Commission. No, I'm
The
too
only other
busy.
thing I was going to throw is, I'm a lawyer. I hope this
Yeah.
isn't going to get hung up on legal fees and didn't bring it before. Who's bringing it before the PUC? Is our town lawyer going to do it?
Does it go through the
You said it
It
ran
does,
in
we just
parallel.
submit it.
They submit it, yeah. There's a contract that we'd already gone through.
Does State of Power bring it to the PUC?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to offer my services for free, but I'd rather not. So you
Very good.
I'm not familiar with the DES updating its
Yeah.
2009 plan, so I'm not sure its goals and whether it has financial goals in there, so I will have a look at that and be more, but the federal government has like $80 billion to spend over the next 10 years on renewable energy projects. With or without community power, if you have a renewable energy host, if you have a project, it's a great time to look into it. It sounds like that has a deadline, but the IRA funding is just, the rules are just still rolling out, and they pay 30 to 50% of projects, depending on who where the project is located. Like a landfill gets more, and who the off-takers are. If you've got low-income customers as off-takers, you get a bonus, for money back. So really a lot of funding for savings, for projects that can generate savings for the,
Would DES have reached out to the towns about this? It sounds like they should
so
have.
I'm not familiar with the DES, I'm sorry,
I
I'm,
get the last question. The DS, what's your question?
Oh, did they reach out to all the towns? Or,
You have to sign up pretty much, I think. If you go on the DES site, you'll find ways to get your name on their list and they'll contact you. I just got an email from today saying having a meeting, they're doing a Zoom meeting Wednesday night, to go over some of this stuff. But yeah, everything is happening very fast.
Okay, we can take a look, yeah. So, because usually she brings it to our attention when these come in, so I didn't know if it was overlooked, okay.
But yeah, the DS has a specific, like an air, different, they have water, air and stuff. I think it's under their air department.
Take a
But
look.
anyway, if you look for the climate plan, you'll find it.
Okay, very good.
Look into that.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, are there any other comments? Joan, did you wanna?
Just one question, what, from the town's end, would have to be managed on the town end? Would it have to be a separate person, or just, how much of management on the town side has to be done?
So there's the town, it's a town program, and they supervise all aspects. But we prepare all drafts of materials, we handle the timeline. As your consultant, we carry the process all the way through. So we've been through this once with towns that have launched, and there's been a handful of documents where we've sent them to the town administrator, and they've put them on letterhead and signed them, and then sent them back to be sent to the Public Utility Commission. The town can always have comments on that. They can, they always can do something with it if they want to, but we prepare all the materials. We do everything for the program as your consultant. And then, of course, we lead the power procurement process. We do all the outreach planning, and we do really appreciate local, really more volunteers. But sometimes the town will put things up on the town website, or put out newsletters. Local town input is always welcome and received well by. But there's no other than some, a little bit of town time. I don't want to say the town administrator doesn't put any time into this, that she's been to meetings already with the committee, so I don't want to minimize the amount of sort of time and understanding that, she's put into it. But once the program's launched, especially, there's reporting that we prepare for her, and then, so it's minimal.
The other question is, anybody who's on Eversource now, would they be automatically converted over to this?
So the process is that, yes, anybody who is on Eversource Supply now would be eligible for automatic enrollment. So they would receive a letter in the mail that says, if you do nothing, then you will be automatically enrolled in the program. But there's a 30-day window when people can choose to opt out and go back to the utility. At that point, people will know all of the rates. So you'll be able to see what the utility rate is. You'll be able to see the program rate, which will be lower than the utility rate. You'll be able to see the optional program rates. So you'll make your decision with full information. But there is a window to opt out. And then if you miss the deadline, if you're away on a vacation in Tahiti or whatever, and you miss it, you can just opt out when you notice. You can opt out in any month after that.
So, may I speak? Joan, so two things. The cost, there's a couple. One, you just still get your Eversource bill. You just have that one line item that says who the supplier will be. The cost of the program is already in the bill, so there's no other affecting our budget any other way. The only other cost, I think, is when you actually bid on the contracts, you have to get the Board of Selectmen and the town administrator ready to be part of that process, right, to when to
Or designee?
organize and pull the price trigger, right? That's going to be the term. So and then, of course, reporting requirements, right? So it's really not a lot of cost. I don't think it's really any cost, but.
Sorry, the various options, to just be clear, so I think you put a 4 up there, going from 100% renewable to basically status quo, I guess, or.
Mhm.
So each individual customer in the town can pick which option they want, right? So there may be 4 different rates that town residents are paying depending on which of those options they pick. Yeah, those
Mhm.
there.
Mhm.
Okay, that's very helpful. But not every one of those is going to come in under the current Eversource rate. So you're doing 100% renewable. It seems like it's going to be higher, right?
Right, so we don't know what the rates will be in Litchfield, but shall I show the Keene rates? So we have existing rates for Keene, Swansea, Marlborough, and Wilton. So they went, oops, past the end there. Okay. So these are existing rates in those communities. They launched in June. So the current Eversource rate is 12.58 cents. And actually have a graph that I can show you what the rate was when they launched. But you can see that the default rate, the one where people would be automatically enrolled, is 11.47 cents. So it's a penny lower than the current Eversource default rate. The basic is 11.1 cents. The green 50% is 12.05 cents. That's still below the Eversource utility default rate. And then the 100%. And when they launched this, I just did a new chart, so I want to, so they launched the programs launched in June when the utility default rate was 20 cents for supply only. And then they chose a 30-month period, so the green dotted line matches the other chart, that's the default. And then the best rate is the orange line, and then the utility default rate is the blue line. So, so that's what their program looks like. Yeah.
So when the town launches, we have to agree to one. Can you go back to those four options again?
This one.
The town has to pick a default, not, I don't want to say the word default, meaning the default one, but say we pick default plus 2% renewable.
Do you want to see?
And then later you can change it to what you want. So we have to come up with that.
So that's been the biggest point of
Sweet spot
discussion
that
is
they want.
at what rate should the default be? How much extra renewables, if any, should the default be?
Well, just as having lived here for a while, so you've got to come in under the current cost.
Right.
That's what we,
50%
yeah,
renewable.
that's what we feel.
How much was it? 6 cents? How much was it between default rate and 5% renewable?
I keep going back and forth here. So the 11.1 and 11.47. So that's 3.7 mils. So that's
Is that on the
three. It's 3/10 of a cent.
Okay.
3.5 tenths.
So what
of
was the average house? You had an average.
Yeah, so it was
per-
so for 10%, I was doing the math on my way to make sure I could do it in real time if you made me. It is $1.80 a month for 10% renewable energy per household.
So you have the default of whatever, and if you pay an extra $1.80, you have 10% renewable on your bill.
In addition to the state minimum. Yeah. So the 1% would be 18 cents. That was the
Right.
and then the
Right.
10% would be
So
$1.80
this is
on
the
your bill.
second hearing. The first hearing, it worked out to be 18 cents. If we set to the default plus a little renewable, just to set the town going, it would be 18 cents on your bill. And then if they want to up it to 10% or 100% renewable, they can, or they want to go back to default. So we're trying to figure out 1 to 3, 1 to 5%, based on the surveys we did what the town wanted. Yeah.
Well, you didn't mention the possibility of just making the basic the default, which is the lowest price.
Yeah, we're still having that discussion, right?
So, yeah, that's still the major point of discussion. Do we bring people in at the lowest price and let them opt up, or do we bring them in at some amount of extra renewables in the default? And so that's really where I'd like your input and everyone in the public's input, because we haven't made a decision yet.
But once you make a decision, and then can the consumer change?
They can always opt
Yeah.
down, yeah.
They can change their rate up, down?
They can opt into any of the other categories there,
Up,
yeah.
It's just a short period before you can opt, is that a change? So the town picks when to start.
You can opt every month, you can
Every
opt,
month, okay, after that. And you can go in and out and.
yeah.
We're just trying to be cognizant of the ones who have it on auto pay and don't really pay attention.
Yeah, my concern is that we bring in the whole town, 10% renewable, and people think they are, they're surprised that they're not getting the lowest bill, you know? And they might be upset that they've been paying, even though it's a small portion, it still seems like, if I could reduce my electric bill by 1%, I would. And so that's where I stand. But I know there's a lot of people in town who like renewables, so, yeah, there's really two sides to this.
Yeah, I'm actually getting 100% wind from Arcadia now, and it's a little more, but, so I would say I would go with 100%, but I fully understand people need to save money too. So, yeah, I think probably from a town perspective, that's probably the way to go, with either the lowest or maybe
Yeah.
50%. Definitely keep it under the current rate,
Well, yeah, it has to come in. Actually, they're guaranteeing that we will come in under the current Eversource rate.
And is there a budget plan, or do you just get a monthly bill based on use, or do you have a budget plan?
Your, budget billing, what, you can use budget billing as well. It works the same, it's through the.
So you can opt up, down, or out.
That's right.
Yeah, I think the idea with the green default is that everybody wants savings, so the bulk of the savings will always go to the customer. And if the savings were squeezed, like if the utility default was close to the bid price, then, nobody would be arguing for a lot of renewables and taking back a lot of that. It's sort of taking the savings and then just giving a little back to the renewables. Because 10% renewable energy, because our state RPS is 25%, adding 10% is adding like 40% renewable energy to the town's supply. So it's a big impact for a relatively small cost, and that's why kind of why to do it. Why it's kind of win-win. That's what we're trying to say, that it gives people deep savings and lets the renewable energy people, because most people will stay in the default. I mean, I think everybody realizes that there's a vast majority will stay in the default.
Yeah, most people won't take any action. They'll get a letter in the
Yep.
mail, they'll put it in the recycling.
Yeah. So, and the other thing, I put this one back up just to kind of impress upon you that in Keene, if people didn't get in the right product the first month, then they have like 29 months to change the product. Like, it stays the same. Like, they just have a really long look at what they want to do. So,
One of the points you brought up last meeting was that what I'm not too crazy about in this plan is that the renewables, it doesn't include nuclear energy, which we know is one of the cleanest forms of energy. So that's not included. So if you do the 100% renewable plan, that excludes nuclear. It also excludes most of the current hydro electricity that's produced, because it's not new hydro. And so those being two of the greatest, cleanest baseline energy supplies, that's one of the few downfalls of this plan. I mean, I think the plan is great. I think it's going to save the townspeople a lot of money. I don't think there's virtually no risk for the town, so I am in full support of this plan, but I just wanted to point out one of the disadvantages.
yeah, I don't think nuclear generates renewable energy certificates. And I mean, we definitely have a great baseline. It basically, if there's a nuclear power plant, it produces all out. So it's part of the grid. And yes, in terms of hydro, we do use new renewable energy.
Yeah, so if there's
but
a
we
new
have
hydro-
a program for existing hydro. We love we refurbish hydro programs. Like, we love hydro energy. Yeah. So in terms of Hydro-Quebec, whether that could be part of your program, it's not written in there, and I'm not sure whether I don't know what that class of renewable energy is, and whether that's something we could.
Yeah, I
actually
think it's
consider.
that most of the hydro plants are older, and so they don't fall into the right class to be counted as renewables in this plan, which is a shame.
Mm-hmm.
So it's wind, solar, and what's the other
The
one? There was one
bulk
more.
is principally solar, because that's what is being developed. So there is limited wind, but wind's not really being developed. There are probably some RECs available, but they may be taken up. And then there's some really odd bits. There's, I believe, not municipal, what's it called? Like biogas
There was one more in
is.
the contract, but I read so many, yeah.
No,
There was
I know,
another-
and you asked me last week, and I meant to look
Yeah.
in between, so I do apologize. I can get that to the committee about the definition.
was in,
But
the
most of
con-
those are very small amounts that are available anyway, so it really is defined by the solar regs.
It's really solar.
Yeah, and the existing hydro programs, like we do group net metering for hydro facilities, and that power is all kind of apportioned. Our group net metering benefits all go to municipal customers. So we don't have excess to do, we're not giving excess to industrial customers that we could, bring around to community power. Like, we don't have the excess anyway. So I guess if that, rest assured that those are robust programs that are fully subscribed and people are looking for opportunities to develop new, I think, refurbish hydro, increase capacity, that can be new renewable energy.
Maybe that's a project the town could pick up.
What, hydrogen?
Yeah.
All right.
Do you have any
Does
hydropower?
Does Eversource do nuclear? Or is that mostly for the grid?
It's just baseline grid.
That's what I
like
thought. Okay,
that's,
good.
yeah.
So that
Yeah,
nobody
no,
has
we
it.
definitely
Okay.
have nuclear in our power supply. It's
Right.
whether we can, put it in this product that we're talking about, yeah.
Are the grids in rough shape, is that true? Is it overloaded? I hear it's power plant and natural gas kind of keeping that going, and manually intervening in the winter time.
One of
Scary.
the, 2 meetings ago, we had someone in the public who, during the meeting, there was a grid emergency, and he
Oh, yeah, I
had
remember
the status on his phone, and he was telling us a little about it, and he said that it was such an emergency, they were actually running plants with jet fuel to produce electricity, to keep the grid running, to stop the brownouts.
It's not a New Hampshire problem, it's around the country, but I've heard in the winter they're just manually letting towns share the energy. The computer can't do it, they're stepping in. That's not our problem today. Let's just get the power, right?
No, we would, everyone, do energy efficiency and, things that turn the use down at peak times have a lot more benefits than just you save at home, but it saves the grid if people do
Yeah.
shed load between 5 and
Right,
8
like 2 in the morning.
on the coldest and warmest days. So, yeah, but so this is a piece of the problem. It's a great tool. It can help with some of those things, but mainly it brings savings to the community. Yeah.
All right. Any other comments? Fred, I haven't heard much from you. Have any opinion on the?
No, that was a question I had with hydro. Because I know the program in Keene has hydro
Yes.
in it, and I wondered why we didn't have that, so that was a good question. That answered my question.
Well, actually, that's a great question because in Keene, they, again, in the law, and it may be contemplated in your plan, but there's some steps to get through if you wanted to do that. But the program can support a renewable energy fund, for instance, a community power fund that could build up reserves for local projects like energy efficiency or solar or something like that. And Keene does have a fund, and it has about $50,000 in it now from group net metering benefits from a local hydro producer. So that the producer can direct benefits toward a program, and but the town needs to set up that bucket. So through their, I think it's SIP process or something like that, capital improvement, you need a place to put that.
We just
So,
finished.
right, which I think is would be a town warrant. I don't think the community power program would want to be responsible for that. It has to be a town place. But if you had that, then the program could take a slice of the rate if you chose to do that. I'm just saying this is an opportunity if you want to, and put it in a renewable energy, and then that can be directed toward. I think Keene's they want to put it or are putting it toward energy efficiency because the kilowatt hours you don't use are kind of the most valuable because they also avoid distribution costs.
So would you be open to that if that did occur? There was a hydro plant startup coming or renewable?
Well, it could be any renewable.
added
That's a
it
group net
anytime?
metering host that directed benefits toward the community power program. So that's,
I
it could be, absolutely, and it could also attract like federal funding. I mean, I think once you put that bucket out there, there are other creative solutions, and the community power program could be part of that, but we don't anticipate it upon launch. That would be
Yeah.
something to work on.
Yeah, so if a local hydro plant
Yeah,
were
right.
to pop up, I'm sure you guys would be all over buying the RECs from.
Well, hydro or solar, our program,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
keep saying hydro, but we have solar group
Right,
net
of
metering
course.
hosts. We administer large projects of
So you're
all
not
types of-
shutting the door on that option?
Right, no, we're
Okay.
not, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Anything else from the public? Anything else from the board?
No, I'll pass on the information, Richard Husband's information, to Kim Kleiner, our town administrator, to reach out to you, just to find out what's going on, and we'll log on to DES as well.
I'm happy to forward an email, by the way, to anyone who wants it from the DES. You can register for, they have a Zoom, first of 3 discussions on what the climate plan is. It's Wednesday at 4:30. It says, encourage anyone
Yeah.
to join in on it, so would you like it?
Do we want to give it to the
Well,
Energy
because
Commission? What's our email address? Is it Energy Commission? I'm not sure what our global one.
I don't know.
We're gonna be let's get our Energy Commission email.
I just have my regular.
Okay, yeah, so I am interested, sure.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know the,
Well, we have our nh.gov, right?
what is she sent to?
Let me see if I can go.
It's EC at Litchfield
Can we email it right now?
NH.gov.
He can forward it. Can you have him forward it
This
to
makes
that
sense
email?
because it is.
Then we'll all get it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Thank you, guys. It was-
Can you forward that email? If we give you the email address, it'll go to the Energy Commission here. You have it, what is it, EC?
It's just-
Maybe just, if you could write whoever wants to
Sure.
write their email addresses on this card, I'll
I'll write the email address for the whole committee, and
Put
then
it
it'll
out
go to
to the
all of
committee.
us.
All get
Yeah.
It's consistent.
We'll get it to you.
No, finance. Kim's on vacation.
So it's just E.
But yeah, I'm not really sure either myself, but, and I'm not sure that the state really knows, because things like that, they're just happening so fast. But there's a lot of money just, being poured out there.
All right, great. So, with that, so this is our final public hearing. With all the comments heard, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close public hearing.
Ken made a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second from Fred. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0-0. The public hearing is now closed. So next time we meet will be Wednesday, December 13th at 6 p.m. here at Town Hall. We will be reviewing the draft community power plan, and I suppose we'll be voting for approval on that day. So the public is still welcome to come and listen in, and there will be a small section for comments. And then, once we approve the plan, it'll go to the Board of Selectmen. I think, when do they meet?
After the 13th, you mean?
Yeah,
I know we're meeting the 21st. Let me just look. I don't know. It's more in here than anything.
yeah, I think it was the
And we
21st.
still have to review the warrant article too, right? All right, let's see. I think we moved to the 21st, because it would have been on Christmas, the 25th. So we moved the date. All right. So we're meeting on the 13th, you said, right?
Yes.
Let's see.
Yeah, the selectmen are the 11th, and then,
11th is too late, because we made the 13th. Let me look up here.
yeah, not trying to,
Town calendar.
Yep, that's the email address for the whole
It's the
committee.
21st?
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
December 21st.
yeah.
Thank you very much.
Good to see you. Thank you.
So December 21st for the Board of Selectmen.
Okay.
Merry
So we have our schedule. If there's no further business, then I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All right, I have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0-0. Thank you very much. Have a good night.